Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
We shall do that. It's Monday morning. It's May 8th, and it's time for Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. My name is Joe Callahan. Across the table from me, Dave Richards. Good morning to you there, Dave.
Joe, good morning, everybody. Lovely day.
And we expect Melissa Murray to be joining us, but I'm assuming she's stuck behind a bus. Making her way here to the station. But she will be here momentarily.
Well, she could be getting up a little slow this morning. It was a very busy weekend for all.
It was, and Dave hit quite a few places, especially on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Where did you hit, Dave? From one to the next.
I avoided most collisions,
okay.
But I participated in, we stopped by to do mystery mics, you know.
Yeah.
And do some special reports. Heck, we were at the May breakfast, the 100th May breakfast at St. James Episcopal Parish House.
With Jean
on
working
Hamlet
on the new
Avenue.
stove.
Yeah, Jean was working on the new stove.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and she was out serving, too. She was everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, and had a lot of friendly and very familiar faces from down through the years. We're there from St. James. We got a chance to talk to Jane Jellison. Her sisters were there, too. I didn't get a chance to talk with them. Bob Larder was there, and we talked with his wife, Jean, and his daughter, Alex, as well. They were staffing the book table, which I thought was quite apropos, because he was very much into that stuff.
Yep.
And we talked to Fanny, who was doing the arts and crafts, and Irene, who was doing the Swedish things. There was because St. Mark's Lutheran and St. James Episcopal are joined administratively, and and St. Mark's was basically it was a Scandinavian church, a Swedish church that started there. So they had some interesting things there as well, and of course, the food was just great. Went back for seconds on the eggs and the rest of that. Very, very nice.
Doing great.
That was a good thing. And we were there. We couldn't sit with Nancy and Bob Phillips, but they arrived at the same time. They were sitting with some other folks that they'd promised to sit with, and we felt duly shunned. But that's okay, no problem. And then poor Denise there sat there eating alone while I went around and did mystery mic things. We had some fun. Then let's see. After the usual Saturday chores, we also went over to the Touch a Truck event.
By the Rotary Club.
By the Rotary Club, you betcha. And there was quite the crowd there, I'll tell you.
It was a beautiful day to be outside.
Yeah, lots of parking and everything, and quite the crowd. Melissa has just joined us, and you take care of your coffee over there.
Oh, thank you.
Because I left it all set up for you. That's right. So anyway, we spoke with Mark Harnwar over there. They were doing some wonderful things. They were giving out absolutely free to all the youngsters who attended little yellow construction hats. They looked like hard hats, and the kids were loving that. And they had some very, very interesting exhibits. In addition to the big trucks from the city of Woonsocket and consumers, and the Stanley. I don't think the Stanley Tree was there, but Bay Crane was there. It had a big 80-foot, 100-foot crane there that was flying the American flag. And lots of others. The state police brought along a demonstration vehicle, which I thought was kind of interesting. It was the cabin of a car with the doors and stuff like that. Just not the front end of the car. From the firewall forward was missing. Mm-hmm. But they had this in a contraption on a trailer. And inside were mannequins. You see, and there was a whole family in there. There was a mommy and a daddy mannequin, and there was kid mannequins, and there was little baby mannequins and stuff like that. Okay, so they had this there, and the whole purpose of the thing was to demonstrate seatbelt usage. Okay. And what happens in a crash if you're not wearing your seatbelts. And they flip a switch on this thing, and it spins the thing over, and you see mannequins being ejected out the windows of the car and laying on the ground, all haphazard. That's quite an impressive thing for a youngster to see.
Yeah.
I think so. So that was very, very nice. And of course, Lisa Carcefaro was there with her Blackstone Valley Prevention Coalition table, and lots of other things. I can't mention them all. They also had the food. Bugged Out Barbecue was there, Ness's Snack Shack. They had Dell's Lemonade there as well, and quite a large group of people that came to see. That I thought that was a particularly nicely done event. And that went till 3 o'clock, and then we went over to Lops.
First of all, did you see the helicopter?
You know,
The emergency helicopter that,
I went in and
Richard Severian
recorded
is bringing in?
early. I went and recorded early, Joe, because I want to make sure we got the messages on the air in time.
Yeah.
So I got there about 10 minutes before the life flight landed,
Okay.
because it came in at about 11:30, and I wanted to get in after the quiet time
Yeah.
so that we could hear some noises. And things like, and we did. So I was there about 10 minutes after 11, and I left about 20 minutes after 11 to go and produce the messages so they could get on the air. And about 10 minutes before the Life Flight helicopter arrived. It was already on its way when I left. So we talked about that too. That was kind of cool.
All right.
Yeah.
And then it was off to Lops Brewing.
Off to Lops Brewing, where I met up with the barkeep there, Sarah, a wonderful young lady who told me that if I hung around for a few hours, I just might win the stupid hat contest.
Because it was
that they
Kentucky
had.
Derby Day.
It was Kentucky Derby Day at Lops. And knowing that ahead of time, I prepared myself. But not being a hat person, I don't wear hats an awful lot. When I opened up the door to the closet, the first hat I saw was the first hat I took.
Which is?
It was a Santa cap, the same one I wear on the ear during the Milk Fund auctions.
I bet you were the only one in a Santa hat.
I was. And she said, if you stick around, she says, you just might win the golden horse. I couldn't stay, unfortunately,
All right.
and that's the way it goes. We did some nice interviews over there as well. So that was kind of cool. And then Saturday night, I was there with you and Gail, and hundreds and hundreds of other people watching the Justin McKinney show. And Dan, what was Dan's last name? Do you recall?
Donahue.
Dan Donahue, the electrician.
Yeah, slash comedian.
Yeah, and he
It was his
kinda,
opening act.
He was kind of funny too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, kind of funny. He was very funny, really.
Yeah.
So was that, and a lot of pasta and stuff like that beforehand, and it was pretty good. Good to see you and Gail there. The four of us don't get out too often.
No.
I think the last time all four of us were together, we were at the ON picnic, of course. But before that, I mean, in some public place, we were at dinner on the field at McCoy Stadium.
It might have been a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But this was funny, Melissa, who was not at the comedy show, which took place at the Elks. Mm-hmm. So we're in the big room for the Elks, where they're doing the show.
Public hall.
But on the other side of the wall is the lounge,
Right.
which
right.
was
The
open
members' lounge.
which was open to the members. They
Right.
could go in there and not be part of the show.
And they have entertainment
Just-
Fridays and Saturday nights.
Justin's up doing his act and telling jokes, and everyone's laughing. But all of a sudden, here comes all this music, and they're doing karaoke in the bar. At the same time, he's doing his act, and he actually stopped his act. He's like, "What is that?" So we're now going to be part of his act. He has got to use it. He goes, "There's only two things going on in Woonsocket: me and karaoke. We're both doing it in the same building."
Well,
Amazing.
it wasn't the only things
I
that
know,
were
but
going
it-
on.
No,
I'm
there's
sure.
lots going on, but
But it was
yeah,
but it was a
that's-
funny
that's
joke.
funny.
It was a
That's
funny joke. There was just, it was okay. It was going on and everything. It wasn't terribly distracting. But there was one young
then it
lady.
was.
There was one young lady who was doing a Joan Jett song, a rock and roll song, at the top of her voice, and she came through the wall.
They eventually went over and said, "Can you turn it down?" Turn it
Well,
down?
I know. Yeah, it
It's a little
stopped
tough
after
to hear the
that.
jokes.
It stopped after that. So yeah.
It did, but the show was very funny, and he went on for he went on. He goes, "Oh, I've been on for an hour,
About an
He
hour
go-
and 5.
And he said, "Oh, I got time to do more," and he went on for another 15 minutes or
Yeah.
so. So it was good stuff. You could tell because he brought up like a little sheet of paper and stuck it on a stool,
Yeah.
that was up there. So he was trying out new stuff. So we'll try out the new stuff on the Woonsocket crowd, and it was good. It was good stuff, and we were laughing. The whole place was laughing, and
Yeah.
like Dave said, hundreds of people there. He just a couple of tables that weren't didn't have people sitting on them.
Right, they had
That's
a
good
couple
to
of
hear.
empties.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes people buy tickets and they don't go.
That's right. Yeah. But other than that, it was a good time. I was
Full
able
house.
To,
That's good.
I was able to speak to him beforehand, and introduce myself.
And he
again.
came over
And
afterwards.
then afterwards at the show, he came over to see Dave and I. So I thought that was great. So it was a good time. And he's like, he did mention. I don't know if you caught it, Dave. He said they've already talked about doing this again like next year. So he may come back next year and do something. So.
Now that he knows his way, he won't need the GPS.
That's right. And he did do the joke of he couldn't understand why we were doing the North Smithfield Firefighters having the show in Woonsocket.
Right.
There's just isn't a venue big enough. All right. And anything on any visitations you do on Sunday, Dave?
No.
No? All
Sunday,
right.
yesterday was like a rest up
Rest
day.
day. Okay.
After Saturday was so busy. Yesterday was a rest up day. Have you seen the lawn?
Yeah, it's up to your knees.
All of it, yeah. I said to myself, I'm so busy on Saturday, I'm going to do the lawn on Sunday. And yesterday, I just rested
A
up.
day of rest. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I went to
so-
Jack Reed's breakfast yesterday.
Yeah.
Where was that?
That was at the convention center. It's
What
usually
would Jack
at
Reed need a breakfast for, other than the fact for sustenance?
so every year Jack Reed does a family breakfast.
He's got more money than Biden, for cripe's sake.
It was a really nice time. It's usually on Roads in the Patuxent, but I guess they're having some structural issues right now. So it was at the convention center.
Renovation issues.
Yes. Some kind of capacity issues. So he needed a place
Alright.
big enough. So, yeah.
So where do they have it instead?
At the convention center.
Really?
Yep. And so, yeah, a lot of folks were there. All 86 people who are running for Congress.
With their signs?
No signs.
all right.
But Councilman Thompson went, Rep. Casey went, Rep. Brian went. Yeah, it was just a.
Senator Murray went.
I went, and it was a nice time. However, there was a lot going on in the city, and it took me. I thought that I was being smart by parking in the mall garage because I have a little secret place where I used to park. Except
secret
it was
Taken.
there was closed off. That whole
Oh.
that whole level was closed off. So okay, whatever. I'm in. It took me an hour and a half to get out of the parking garage
Just because of the line of cars to get out?
because there was so much going on. There was a marathon, and
Well, I think it was a half
there
marathon
half
yesterday,
marathon
yeah.
yesterday. There was that. There was some other thing going on. There was some dance competitions at the convention center also, and I don't know what else. But I ended up turning off my car, and then I remembered how much I don't like that mall parking lot and how poorly it's planned out.
Yeah.
But it took me that long. It took me longer to get home than I was at the breakfast.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're a fast eater then, huh?
No, it was an hour and a half
Just in line.
just in the parking garage to try to get out, and then there was a lot of traffic. But when I was out and about in the wild on Saturday, I happened upon the Hope Street Artist Market, and I saw River's Edge there, and they were selling their Woonsocket Rocket T-shirts. You would love these.
Yeah.
They have all these different styles of Woonsocket Rocket T-shirts that they sell. Of course, the kids at River's Edge make, and they sell to like keep their program going. I should have worn mine. It's mint green and has a little rocket on it, and it says Woonsocket Rocket, and it's so cute. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. They love it. They embrace it.
Yeah?
Yep, and they're very popular.
Well, that's cool. All
So
right.
I
anybody who
like it
wants
better
one, go
than
to
Wooney.
Wooney should be with an IE, but we already had that discussion, and I lost.
Yeah, Wooney should be with an IE.
I agree.
And it would indicate
Well,
that
who
it's
puts it with a Y?
that it's jocular.
Everybody else
Spelled
that-
with a Y?
Well, when the DWC printed their I Heart Wooney T-shirts,
Oh, okay.
they put it with a Y. I said, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah. Oh, well.
They said that was the old way to spell it. The new way is with a Y. I don't know what that means, but I'm old school.
All right, we'll get
Sounds
there.
like justification to me.
We'll take a break here in the Coffee and program. More coming up, and comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240. We got a message to get to, and we will when we come back.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON Radio.
It is Coffee and here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray. And we got a note that was called in, 766-1240. Just says from the caller, says, remember last week when I mentioned everything is overdone in sports? Well, talking about the Kentucky Derby, here's a beauty. It's been 50 years since Secretariat, the horse, won the Triple Crown. Now the owners, the trainers, and all are millionaires over and over with this great horse. But wait, they have invented, that's in quotes, a $1,000 mint julep Secretariat Foundation. Just says absolutely unbelievable. I don't know anything about this
Mint
foundation.
Julep Foundation.
Well, that's just what it's called, I guess.
Right.
And I don't know what the money goes to that they set up the foundation for, other than to help other horses or other jockeys or whatever. So, although the horse that won, Mage,
Yes.
started was like 14th for quite a while. It
They
came
lo-
out of the pack and just, I'm like, wow.
Well, some of the favorites, unfortunately, they lost quite a few horses.
5 die or 7 die,
7.
and
then-
they can't find a reason. There's no pattern in why they died.
It's
Well, there are different
it's-
reasons.
it's
one
weird.
Of them, one of
Yeah,
them
that
broke
is
an
weird.
ankle and had
Well,
to
they
be
right. Well,
euthanized.
I think they
Yeah.
were looking for like a disease or something that's.
it was a
gonna affect
lot
them all.
of they hadn't lost that many horses since back in the 30s, I think.
Yeah.
It's very
So-
sad.
I don't know how much does a mint julep go for normally.
Depends on where you buy it.
I guess it's probably not going to be $1,000 though. Huh?
No. If you're in Boston, maybe $18.
But maybe you can buy a mint julep for $1,000 down there at Churchill Downs.
Maybe.
Do you know anybody that's ever been to a Kentucky Derby?
Oh no, I know mostly sane people, Joe.
Yeah, do you? Well, you should.
They're
you should,
crazy down
you gotta,
there.
You gotta widen your circle.
You
I
know,
actually know someone that's gone.
You know what's even more crazy?
What's that?
What's even more crazy is that early in the afternoon, when I was there at Lops, they already had live, continuous coverage of the Kentucky Derby on the air,
Yeah.
like it was the stinking Super Bowl,
Yep.
Well, it's
with
like-
7 and 8 hours of pre-race.
Well, there's like 13 races.
For like 2 minutes.
Aren't there 13 races that take place that entire day?
There's many
Worse
races
than
that
that,
take
Joe.
Yeah.
but
Worse than that, when I was growing up, the Kentucky Derby ran at 6:00.
Now it's 6:30, isn't it?
Oh no, it was 6:30 for years.
Yeah.
Going back 30 years ago, they said let's do it at 6:30. People aren't drunk enough.
Not enough mint juleps.
No, actually, what it is that they put in so many preliminary races that
Yeah.
for the crowd there because they do pretty good on the handle because you'll bet on the
Gotta bet more.
preliminary races,
Absolutely.
right? And you've got to whenever you can get a big crowd there with TV coverage and plenty of booze, you're going to make money at the gate.
Yeah.
So they did, but they wanted to add more, so they had to push it off to 6:30. Last Saturday, it was 6:45, and I'm
When it
saying,
finally got off?
okay, here we go. It's going to do the Kentucky Derby under the lights now.
Yeah, almost.
Son of a gun! I couldn't believe. I mean, I was absolutely appalled. Okay, I get it for the Super Bowl. It's a shame, but there's so much money involved. You gotta find some way to put something on the air so you can put commercials in, so you can pay the bill for the rights fees, because it costs you millions and millions, multi-millions of dollars for the right to broadcast it. Plus, you have a staff from that you could put together a small network with the staff that you have there on the scene. And then on top of all of that, I mean, you got to be on the air in order to put some ads in and make some bucks.
Got to talk about the horses somehow.
I get it. I get all that, but to do it for the Kentucky Derby,
Well, there's-
oh my
I
goodness!
don't know how many horse fans are around the country, but there must be a lot. But like I said, I do.
They had it on. They had it on in the barber shop. I went to see Roger the Barber on Saturday, and they had it on there too.
Yeah, they just want to.
Everyone wants to get into the spirit, but
They
no
wanna
one
see
cares
who
about
won.
racing until
They want to see
until the
who won
Kentucky Derby.
because in a month there's the Preakness or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
said,
Right.
"Will we have another Triple Crown winner?" So we'll see about that. But I do know a person that's gone to the Kentucky Derby. They don't sit up in the stands with the beautiful people and all the nice hats. They're down with the rabble. And you're right. I mean, drinking starts at about 10.
Right.
And the Kentucky Derby, the actual race you want to see, 6:30, 6:45. So there is quite a bit of drinking going on. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a NASCAR race.
You are 8 hours in the bag before what
you're-
you came for happens.
That's right. So, but he did say he had a good time. So
And
I'm sure.
And you remember the time I told you when we went to a NASCAR race?
yeah,
I've only been to one once in person, and it was very nice. The folks who had the tire company had a box, and they invited us, and we went, and we're up on top looking through the glass, and the first turn grandstand is right down below us, and about I don't know 8, 9, 10 rows down, we can see the guy with the hat that has the tubes
yeah. With the
that go
Yeah.
down into his mouth,
in
and
the
there's
beers.
there's the big clear vessel for the beer, and his friends just keep pouring beer into that vessel on either side of him, and he keeps draining it.
Yeah.
And we saw this, of course, hours before the race, and then the race is on, and you know it was very, very short time into the race, and he wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, what'd you go through to get here? And because traveling is usually involved. I said, somebody's got to pay for all that beer. Your tickets, I know your tickets were most of $100, even to sit in the grandstands there. And you missed the race? Yikes.
Well, it happens at other events too, besides
It
just
does.
those big.
It
And
does.
I
But
sat-
not at the Levitt concerts.
no.
No.
Good family-friendly concerts.
I've been next to someone at Great Woods who slept through the entire Jimmy Buffett show.
Oh, no.
These tickets are $130, and he's I don't know how they got him in. Got him in the chair. Slept through the whole thing. He had enough, I guess.
I guess so.
Out there in the
Too
parking
much.
lot. All right, on the front page of today's call, Dave, you got the front page right over there.
I do.
Show Melissa because you made the front page.
No, well, she made,
There's
she
no
made
picture.
the story
You
that
made the story.
you're actually on the inside the A2 section,
Oh, okay.
and it has to do with the student union at Woonsocket High School. They went to see you, and you're supporting them. It's in here somewhere. You're the only public official that I recall being mentioned
Oh, okay.
in
Yep.
the thing.
Do you remember being asked about this, Melissa?
Student union, no.
And what does
And free lunch. Okay. Yep.
so? What is the Woonsocket High School Student Union? Is it something the students want to put together? Is it already there?
So the student union is usually like not a political, but like kind of a political, like
An activist group.
activist group
Of students?
Of students.
Okay.
And they wanted to call themselves the student union.
All right.
That was they were self-named. Because
right.
when I think of student union, I think of like campus on college,
place,
right?
yeah.
In a place,
A
right?
building,
But
yeah.
yeah. Yep. So they came to just get involved, and I let them crash in my office and watch the proceedings in the committee on television, and they ordered pizza. And and then they grilled me a little about my priorities, and then we talked about one of the things that they talked to me about was they were particularly concerned about the amount of lockdowns in the school.
How many have taken place?
Oh gosh, I don't know about
Us
numbers,
outside
but
the school, we just don't hear this numbers.
Right.
no.
That's
Yeah,
not
so
even
when
part of Stella Lawrence's subject.
no,
story.
this is, and it isn't. But we were talking about the education bills. But then they were also expressing to me, because I'm asking them like about their experience, and I don't mean lockdown where like active drill lockdown, but like where they do they call it sweeps.
Yeah, okay.
Where they do sweeps and everyone stays into place, and it happens often. And then they do a sweep to make sure nobody's in the halls, nobody's in the restroom.
Who's doing the sweeps? The
The
teachers?
the,
or
the
police?
administration, the
Okay.
administration.
And they think it happens too often?
Yep, because then they're just in lockdown. Like if you have to use the restroom, you can't use the restroom. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, and they just think that it's very
Disruptive?
disruptive. And I don't want to say I don't want to use the wrong word, but like that, there's an unnecessary amount of this going on is what they were concerned about. So.
Oh, okay.
But that was my conversation I remember from them. Obviously, there was, the
More.
write-up in the paper I haven't seen.
Okay.
But
Well, Dave was telling me earlier, because he took a look through the article, about how they want repairs done to the building.
Right.
Okay.
But that was not the
What
the
else?
top one. The top one was more gender-neutral bathrooms.
Okay. Did they talk to you about that, Melissa?
they did ask me about that. I told them that I had a gender-neutral bathroom bill that passed several years ago, but this was only single-user public restrooms. So in other words, I'll use
Yeah,
you know,
congregate. They didn't want to be mixing them together.
Right. It was not. It was single user, public only. If you have your own like private bathroom in your shop and you use that, but you don't let the public use it.
Yeah.
You don't have to turn it over. But the only thing that the bill did was change the sign on the door from men and women to restroom.
Right.
It was not like there was no fanfare about it. It was very simple bill. But they
So why do
Yes.
they want this at the high school?
because they feel that I mean we didn't go into it too much, you know. I was in and out of committee, but
Well, I can tell you where the discussion goes with that. The fact is that they're trying to get people who were born legally male, who don't feel like a male and they feel female, to be more comfortable when they go to the restroom, and vice versa,
vice
for the
versa.
other gender,
And vice versa.
And so their reasoning, and they're smart kids. We adults can look at it and say, well, we've gone through that. We know where the pitfalls are. You're stupid. You don't understand. No, come on. They're kids. They haven't had those experiences yet. And we're encouraging them to be involved in their lives and in their government and in their schools. So let them have some work at it. I mean, you learn your best lessons by failing and finding out what works and what doesn't work. But getting back to all of this over here, we know that inherently there will be bigger, more serious issues if both males and females use the same congregate bathroom facilities, because that's what history taught us. They want to try to make it work in today's day and age. And so I respect them trying to get going on this. I would give them the benefit of my counsel, and if they still insist that they want to go and do that, then I would stand aside and let them try to get enough people thinking like them to get it done, because that's what it's all about when you're working in society. You have to engage the enthusiasm of other people who either do or don't think like you to get things done. Right? Am I right about that?
Right.
And this is the lesson
or
we have to...
convince them to at
Right.
least try it.
And this is the lesson we have to teach them. And we have to let them try and either succeed or fail. And they will learn either way. And then that's the best we could do for our young people, is to let them try that.
Sure.
The thing that I kind of disagreed with, and it again goes to them not having enough life experiences to understand this. But then again, let them learn that when one of their main, it was not the first, it was the first one was the bathrooms. The second one was to improve the relationship between students and staff and teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers and staff, they were lumping together. So it says students and staff. And I said, the way to improve relationships among people is not to form your own advocacy group and try to force them to do what you want. That's not how you improve relations. You never improve relations by taking sides and going to opposite corners and coming out and fighting over things. But at the same time, I can't tell them a better way of going about it.
We must form a committee, Dave.
Well, the other thing that was concerning to me was that they are doing the only thing they can think of doing, and I applaud them again for taking the action. And they are looking at Providence, and there is a Providence student union in Providence Public
There is.
Schools, and they are using that as a template, a guide
All right, it's a
for
model.
how they can get things going for themselves. They see a need, they want to do something about it, they see someone else doing something about it, and now they want to, take from Providence to try to not reinvent the wheel here in Woonsocket. And I get that, but I would ask them, if I were talking to them, so what has Providence done that's so remarkable? Because, Providence isn't even in charge of their school district. The state is. So what have they accomplished that is what you want to accomplish? So, and they'd have to come up with an answer for me on that.
So I think from the young adults' perspective, I think that what they admire in Providence is their ability to gather folks in numbers to be a bigger group and attract more like-minded members. And I think that they probably want to do that. I don't think they're probably thinking of okay, what have they gotten accomplished? They see this bigger group that's more active, and they want probably more active members, I'm guessing. I think it's a good thing to find and start, saying, well, I care about this, but it's just me and I feel powerless, right? So I'm going to gather with folks who also feel this way. But, you just have to be careful that you don't gather around too many like-minded folks. It really needs to be a community-driven conversation. And I come up against this all the time, I want to change this, but it can't come from me. And a lot of people have difficulty doing that because they have difficulty stepping aside and giving up control of the thing that they want to change. But it really, almost all change really needs to be community driven, and you need to get that community buy-in, and it can't just be one person with a megaphone or 10 people with a megaphone. Do you know what I mean? But that is something that I had to learn.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. We got another note to get to. We will when we come back, but it's time for a look at the forecast being brought to you by Batteries Plus Bulbs.
Gradually clearing skies with a high of 72. Tonight, mostly clear, 41 degrees, calm wind. Tuesday's weather, increasingly cloudy with a high of 65. Wednesday, sunny and 69. Thursday, sunny and 77. Friday, sunny and 79. Saturday, mostly sunny and 76. And next Sunday, partly sunny skies and a high of 72.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street with the sunny skies, we have 67 degrees. At Batteries Plus, they do more than fix phones and tablets. They help our neighbors power their lives. Visit Batteries Plus in-store, curbside, and online at batteriesplus.com.
When it comes to emergency service for plumbing and heating, you can't beat C.J. Nemus, 37 Corey Street in Woonsocket. C.J. Nemus offers over 15 years of experience and is licensed in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. C.J. Nemus offers complete heating system service, plumbing, water heaters, plus drain and sewer cleaning. Remember that senior citizens receive a 10% discount. So give Charlie a call today at C.J. Nemus, 769-4776. They're registered with the Better Business Bureau. They're a master plumber with quality service. It's the only way and the best way. With C.J. Nemus, call today, 769-4776 for C.J. Nemus.
Michaux's Auto Body is a name you've heard for a long time, and over the years, they've kept up with the very latest technology, including water-based paints used by manufacturers and a full review of the vehicle to be sure that all the technology is performing properly. Michaux's assists with all the details, calling the claims office, scheduling appraisals, arranging rentals, and before you leave, detail your vehicle. All work is 100% guaranteed while you own your car. Michaux's Auto Body, 430 Privilege Street, Woonsocket. Visit MichaudAutoBody.com.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer inviting you to join me for the Saturday Block Party. It's every Saturday from 4 until 7 p.m. when we fill the airwaves with the songs you want to hear. It's a party in every sense of the word, so join me live on 99.5 and 1240 a.m. or bring the show with you wherever you go at onworldwide.com.
It's Coffee In here on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and Dave Richards, just talking about the Woonsocket High School Student Union that they're putting, they want to put together, and that they want more mental health resources.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
more
that was one of their biggest
biggies.
concerns at that time. Yeah.
So like more counselors. Is that what
right.
they're looking for?
Access to mental health services,
Okay.
and also, still working to destigmatize that, like it's okay to not be okay, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Which I think is starting to happen. There's still a lot of stigma around mental health, unfortunately, but they want to see more access to mental health counselors in the schools.
It's tough because there's a shortage of mental health counselors.
That's right. There is.
Only because
There
they're
is.
covered by insurance, Joe.
Well, yeah.
There never was.
Well,
Yeah.
now there is.
There is now.
You might see, not a glut, but you might see more in a few years after they get out of college. But
Right.
For now, it's a bit of a hit and miss trying to find them.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
All right, so we did get a note that was called in. On another note, the leading cause of death for kids ages 1 to 19, number 3 is cancer, number 2 is injuries, and number 1 is gun violence.
It is. That's true.
And we had more gun violence over the weekend
Yep.
down in Texas.
Did.
And in other countries. I like to point that out when it happens in other countries. It just doesn't
Not
happen here.
nearly as often.
Well,
Not
we don't. True, but we don't hear a lot when it happens in other countries as often. But
'Cause
it
they-
does happen in other places.
It does
'Cause
happen.
they don't
It does
have all the
happen.
news network and organizations saying, hey, somebody picked up a gun. Let's get that on the news.
You're right. Oh well, sorry. And so
If you went back to the 1880s and 1890s,
okay,
people
Mr.
got
Peabody,
shot
let's go.
every day,
You sure about that?
didn't make the newspapers.
There weren't any newspapers. Well, there were some.
What can I tell you, Joe? A lot of it has subjective.
All right.
They're trying to ratchet up your discomfort. It's what goes on in this social cycle.
All right. Well, speaking of keeping it on the whole violence situation,
Oh, come on.
down in Cranston, 3 arrested for an alleged Molotov cocktail attack.
Oh my goodness! How did I not hear about this?
I don't know.
But do we have a bill in the legislature now
Get rid of them?
banning Molotov cocktails?
Pretty sure they're not allowed already, but we don't. Do we have to codify that?
Well, I'm just pointing.
Possibly,
I'm just,
yes.
just pointing out that if you have a law against it, it doesn't stop it.
No, right, but
So back at the end of April, there was a dispute between 2 parties, which led to this incident. It took place on Greenwood Street in Cranston, if you know where that is.
I do.
Surveillance video shows an object being thrown at a van from a passing car, causing an apparent explosion before it fell to the ground. There were no injuries, and Drew Rappaport of Coventry, Brianna Wischowski of Warwick, and a juvenile were arrested for felony assault and arson.
does it say how old the individuals are?
No,
Okay,
but 2 adults and a juvenile.
Right.
Is we got, but their ages, no, I don't.
And now you know. And now you know why certain political groups want so many immigrant folks coming in here to vote, because we're losing so many of our U.S. citizens to felonies, and they can't vote.
I didn't know that illegal folks, undocumented folks can't vote.
Oh no. You don't be naive now, Melissa. You know that they're letting them vote.
No,
yes,
that's not
they
happening.
are.
Who's they?
Yeah, the elections officials, enlightened election officials are letting you can go to the city hall. You can't just go to your regular precinct because you're not on a roll. Go to the city hall or the town hall on election day and say, I want to vote. And they will let you vote.
It doesn't mean that it counts. That you have to be a registered voter, and you have to there's a process.
That's what you think, huh?
Yes.
That's not what I've been
Fi-
told, and I was appalled. So anyway, the point is, now if you have more and more U.S. citizens that get themselves in trouble, and you can't vote if you're felonious, if you've been convicted of felony, that's it. You're not voting anymore. So they got to go out and get more voters
So do we allow
any way
felons to
they
vote?
can.
I don't know
Perhaps
what
we
this-
should allow felons to vote.
I knew you were going to say that.
Did you?
And she took the bait.
I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose.
She took the bait.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I
Let's
don't
go
know if
there.
This has to do with Molotov cocktails.
Okay,
but,
we got way off
Because
track.
it's a felony.
Well,
Throw
a lot of things
Molotov
are a felony,
cocktail
but-
like that,
but-
and it's a
Yes.
felony.
Okay. So they're off the voter rolls. So we need
I
more
think-
people to vote.
okay,
That's one
so-
of the things that happens when you're a felon. It makes it difficult. You can't get bonded. You
Yeah.
can't, which means certain jobs you can't do. You can't do certain jobs. You can't get into certain institutes of higher learning to better yourself, get a diploma, and get a better job. And you cannot vote. You need to go through something to
Okay,
try
so
to.
let's roll it back
get
a
it so
little,
you can vote
a little
again.
bit. We don't know what the dispute was. That was probably an earlier story.
Well, the way the story was couched, it was a feud, an ongoing feud.
an
for
ongoing
some time.
feud. Okay, so they thought, well, I'm just gonna throw a Molotov cocktail in their front yard then.
Or
We
at their
believe it
car.
was.
Oh, at their car.
Yes.
We,
Okay,
we,
okay.
we believe it was
A drive-by
directed toward the
throw.
motor vehicle.
It was a drive-by Molotov cocktail.
Yes.
It-
at the motor vehicle.
Trying to
at
get
the-
that car,
okay.
set that car on fire, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't hear about that often.
Well, no.
Not something I would think about. But
Well, we haven't got time to get out and get a gun, so this is the next best thing.
but
maybe.
they do.
Yeah, but we want something right now.
Right in the moment. What do I
In the
have?
moment,
I
I
have
got a
this
bo- I got a bottle,
I
I
have
got
a
a
rag,
rag,
and
and a lighter.
whatever else.
A flammable.
Yeah.
An accelerant.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Don't
all
do
right.
that, by the way, folks.
On-
That's not a good idea.
On better news,
Yeah, better news is good.
Roger Williams Zoo has they've welcomed an endangered golden lion tamarin twins. These are monkeys.
Tamarin, yeah.
They were born last week. They are a critically endangered species.
Hmm.
They are squirrel-sized monkeys with a golden ruff that looks like a lion's mane.
Cute.
Isn't that cute?
Isn't that cute? And
but
are
I-
they? And they're twins?
And they're twins. So
Are
two
they
were
always
born,
born
yeah.
in twins?
Doesn't say.
Pairs?
No.
Like goats?
I'm not up on my endangered golden lion tamarin species.
Why not, Joe?
I don't know. But every birth, they say, of a healthy baby is significant.
Okay.
So they're happy down there at the zoo.
course.
So that's good news though, down there. Now the governor has extended the COVID emergency all the way to May 11th. Wants to coincide with the U.S.
Right.
COVID thing. So there
Makes
you go.
sense.
Well, actually, while some people will immediately think that he's off his rocker for doing this,
no,
there
he's
is a
just
certain
following
amount
them.
of logic because
Yeah.
the
Oh, what, for extending it for what, 3
yeah,
days? or
right.
how many days?
Because
Yeah, 3
whenever
days.
there's a difference between federal and state statutes, laws,
Yeah.
regulations, it just gets complicated. And if it's
does.
as simple to say, okay, 5 more days,
Right.
Go for
right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Let's
right.
Just make it easy.
Yep.
All right. So, and after that, because I've gotten the messages from my health people, my hospitals, don't have to wear masks in the hospitals anymore.
Yep.
Unless you want to. I mean, feel free if you want to.
we did.
And
We visited Landmark recently, and we brought them.
they say, although if you're showing symptoms, they still want you to wear it and stuff like that. But
Well, that's the whole
it's just
thing,
not
Joe.
mandatory.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole group of healthcare professionals saying we should never get rid of mask mandates. They're always trying to, and there's a certain amount of logic to that because, as you recall, I never even caught a cold during the pandemic.
Nor did I.
And then after the pandemic was over, I caught a doozy. So yeah, it makes
They
some
work.
sense. But
They work.
right?
Yeah.
And if someone
there's no
wants to-
denying it, but they are an inconvenience that's really, you feel good when you don't have to wear a mask.
well, yeah.
You understand it and you tolerate it, but it's an annoyance of significant proportions.
Especially if you wear glasses, I have to say.
Yes.
There you go.
The fogging
I-
up situation.
agree with
was-
that.
was
Oh my
awful.
goodness. But also, let's not be intolerant if someone wants to wear a mask.
Well, I don't
Doesn't
think
they
that
feel
happens
like
anymore, does
it?
it?
It does. It
No.
does.
There's
Really?
a tolerance for it?
Well,
Not
yeah,
me.
no, but like folks will poo-poo them. Oh, you're a little
Well,
baby. You're
those-
still wearing a mask, but
The
you're
poo-pooers are the ones with the problems.
I believe that's true. Yeah. If someone, because you don't know, we have a couple of folks in our chamber that still wear masks to
Exactly.
session. One of them has a sick child, another has a sick spouse, and her doctor told her,
Right.
okay, it's
hit that
okay
right
for
on
you to
the
do
head.
this.
Right
but
on the head.
for your spouse's protection, you still need to wear, I really strongly want you to wear a mask. And so they do.
I have a close friend doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The spouse had a transplant operation.
Yeah.
And now for months,
Mm-hmm.
they're walking around with a mask on everywhere, and you just have to respect it because
Yeah,
they
you
have
absolutely
to.
do. Yep. It is proven it works.
Right. Okay, we're going to take another break here in the Coffee and program, but more is coming your way. We ask you to please stick around. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
Woonsocket Door Sales can handle all types of projects from the simpler residential installations to the more complex commercial projects. They install, service, and repair. Garage doors are also an important facet of home and business security since garages contain some of your valuable items like vehicles, tools, and small equipment. Visit their website at woonsocketdoorsales.com and see a gallery of designs and styles as well as testimonials from their satisfied customers from many surrounding towns. Woonsocket Door Sales, 1 Biltmore Avenue, Cumberland, 767-3448. Their reputation for sales and service is ironclad, just like their doors. Woonsocket Door Sales, 767-3448.
Experience Pictures at an Exhibition, a concert by the Rhode Island Wind Ensemble to benefit the glorious St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Sunday, May 21st at 3 p.m. at St. Anne's, 84 Cumberland Street, Woonsocket. Admission is $20 and all proceeds benefit the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Tickets are available at Beela's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Timeless Antiques, Vos True Value Hardware, or call 401-356-0713. We'll see you there.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
Okay, Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. It's
Might
May
be a good
8th.
might
Yes,
be a
Dave?
good time for me to give a Don Brunel update, Joe.
All right, give a Don Brunel update, Dave.
Okay.
That's Dave, and Melissa's here too. Go ahead.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Dave.
We were just talking about Don Brunel.
Yes.
And a lot of people be interested to know, I think, because we still get the telephone calls. When's Don coming back? And the answer is, of course, we told you right in the beginning that Don told us that it would be some time before he felt ready to come back and do his regular show. But it's very, very happy news that Don has been working from home because Don has office work to do besides the radio show that everybody saw. And he'd been working from home for about a month now. And last Friday, he came in and said hi in person, picked up some paperwork and the rest of that stuff. And he's looking pretty good. But he's very concerned about coming back too fast. And the radio show requires, it's not flexible. Like if you get up in the morning and you're not feeling right, and you have to force yourself, to go and keep, because you can't do it any other way. Office work could be put off. You can do it tomorrow. But the radio show, if he's set up with guests and everything else like that, and then he's just not feeling his best that day, because sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. That happens to everybody who's recovering from a serious illness. And he said, I'm really concerned about setting everything up, and then on Tuesday I'm not feeling right, and now I've got a guest that has to be inconvenienced, and we have to reschedule and everything else. So he says, let's take it a little bit longer. I get a few more good days stacked up back to back to back. And he says, then I'll have the confidence to come back on the air. So there's a Don Brunel update. Pass it around. Tell all your friends.
All right, thanks, Dave. As I look through the some of the news items that we have, all right, the bravest man in Rhode Island is by the name of Dr.
Dan McKee. He extended the mask mandate.
Dr. Kenneth, his name is Dr. Kenneth Duva. And you probably haven't heard of him.
Nope.
He's the new North Kingstown school superintendent.
Oh, my goodness.
And if you've been following what's been happening in North Kingstown, you know why I say he's the bravest man in the state of Rhode Island. He's been the school superintendent for the Jamestown School Department, which is really rather tiny.
So you'd think that he'd know.
Since he knows what's going
on in North Kingstown.
I mean, it's right over the bridge. But he's been in Jamestown since 2016. He's going to start in North Kingstown in July. The previous North Kingstown superintendent, Philip Auger, resigned last year amid the scandal about alleged inappropriate body fat tests conducted by the former boys basketball coach Aaron Thomas. And that's just one of the things going on down there in the North Case now. So, but they finally got someone new. And we'll see how well this one gets along with the school committee. That's the real problem.
Right,
That goes
yeah.
on
That's really
down
the
there.
only problem, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From an outsider's observation, that has been the issue from the beginning. How do you get along with the elected school committee?
Yeah. And it's tough.
So aptly named by Joe, bravest
Braves man,
man
taking
in
on this
Rhode
job.
Island.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, good. Best of luck.
That's right. All right. Other things going on just around the country. So down in New Jersey, in a town called Livingston, New Jersey, the kids play a game, and the police want to stop them from playing the game. And the game is called, not a nice name, but the game is called Assassin. And the Livingston High School students play this each year for about 2 weeks. 200 students run around the town shooting one another with squirt guns.
Okay.
Well, the police say, while they do agree it's an innocent game and no one's really getting hurt, they're worried that someone's going to confuse them for real criminals and someone is really going to get hurt.
So
Now, they're not telling them they can't play.
Right,
They're just saying,
right.
please stop playing this. But
So I imagine that they go around with a squirt gun and you get eliminated and the last person standing wins the game or something like that.
last
or just,
person dry. I guess.
Right. Like
I
one
don't-
person doesn't get squirted.
Yeah. I'm not sure how the game is played. I don't know the rules.
Right. I don't know. I'm just thinking like,
They're
do
just
we
running
type-
around and they're shooting each other with squirt guns.
Yeah, which is innocent fun. Except, I guess, if the squirt guns look like actual guns. But
It's been a long time since I bought a squirt gun. The last
Okay,
one I think
so-
I had was Kelly Green.
same, with a little bright orange little cap on the end.
I'm older than you. They wouldn't have the bright orange caps. But also, that's what I was going to ask. Do squirt guns have the orange cap at the end of the nozzle?
Well,
At the end of the barrel of the gun?
I also have not bought a squirt gun in a really long time, but like those little ones that you see at like the dollar store or whatever, I mean, you definitely, or like are you allowed to use a super soaker or is that cheating? Right? Because those don't look like,
Oh, yeah.
they're
white
like the
and
big,
orange and
yeah, they're
you gotta
orange and
pump 'em
yellow
up
and brightly colored.
They don't look like real guns.
I mean, sadly, Joe, like folks are so reactive. You know, kids have gotten shot knocking on somebody's door,
Right.
driving in the wrong driveway. If a bunch of kids, like, do they play this around town? Like,
Yeah,
where,
they say they run around town.
so if a bunch
just
of
at the school.
like if a kid was hiding in your bushes and you mistook, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it could happen.
I guess you can't just, if you're the shop owner, just say, oh, the kids are just playing.
Right.
I guess they just get
Well,
really worried.
With all the helicopter parents we have out there, it's
But also,
it's
like
understandable because if the kids are going out and they can't see them and they don't know what they're doing, helicopter parents don't like it, and the government better stop it.
Well, not just that, but I mean, now we have this rash of folks who are just choosing to solve simple problems with violence because, you know, they're all amped up, they're all on alert, they're, you know,
And their
triggered.
rights are more important than anyone else's rights.
Right. And so, you know, okay, a kid knocks on my door, you shoot him. You know, somebody goes up my driveway, you shoot him. Somebody, like, it's like hair trigger justice, but it's not justice. That's the wrong word for it. But there's so much fear mongering that everyone's so afraid. I mean, there's a teenager so say your teenager's in somebody's backyard with a squirt gun. It's dusk. They can't see very well. I'd be concerned too.
All right. well,
Really
it's-
sad state of
That's come to
affairs.
this now.
Yep. That we are just so like hair trigger violence that we have to worry about kids playing with squirt guns.
So here's a story. Yes, you got something else on the squirt gun, Dave?
Well, go ahead. Mine's not necessarily more important than yours.
All right, but this is just moving on. This is a non-helicopter parent story. And I don't know if you heard about this over the weekend. A woman who was this is in Pennsylvania. A woman who was suspected of faking her own kidnapping to hide the fact that she dropped out of college is being charged.
Wait till you hear this one, Melissa.
You haven't heard that? So, yeah. Chloe Stein, charged with 4 counts, including false alarm to a public safety agency and disorderly conduct. So she texts her boyfriend saying she was being pulled over by police last week and then stopped answering her phone. And she said she was abducted. And the person pretended to be a police officer. Now, this is her story. Of course, it unravels pretty quickly. All right?
Sure, of course it does.
So the state police trooper down in Pennsylvania said the department spent tens of thousands of dollars in search because the boyfriend and then the parents say she's missing. All right, the search begins. Before a tip came in saying, well, she's really at a home 30 miles away from Pittsburgh. And they went there and they found her like there. And the reason she did this is because she dropped out of school. Graduation was coming up.
Years ago, she dropped out of school.
Yeah, and her parents were getting ready to go to graduation ceremonies, which will be happening sometime soon. And now she's trying to come up with a way to not... I don't know what she's trying to do. Try to get them to not come to graduation. And and they checked it with Penn State University, where her parents say that's where she's a student. Mm-hmm. And so they go there and they're like, oh no, she dropped out a couple of years ago.
Presumably the parents weren't paying.
I don't know who's paying. Maybe they are. They're just giving her the money to give to the school.
Oh. Well,
I don't know. It doesn't say who's paying for the school. Yeah. Isn't that...
that's wild.
So that's what I mean. A non-helicopter parent, they say, okay, yeah, I'm still going to college. Okay, you do your thing. And
yeah, but at that point, you're like 20.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
that's right.
you're basically an adult. So,
yeah. Oh, boy.
So as an adult, own your mistakes, and
this is a biggie.
This is a biggie. Okay, I mean the first thing, like, okay, you know what? I couldn't hack it. I'm overwhelmed. I have to drop. I dropped out. I'm sorry.
I'm failing.
I'm failing.
Which is possible. Uh-huh.
I need a break. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Olympians who are like, you know what? I need a break.
Yeah.
It's just
right?
it's just another thing like Three's Company, a TV show. One little tiny lie or misrepresentation or misunderstanding.
You're right. It
just
is.
gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Before you know it, it's a plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a skit on TV. Like, oh, well, how did this possibly happen? This could never happen in real life.
Well,
it did.
The Pennsylvania State Police will probably be trying to get back the money they spent looking for this woman who wasn't missing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's a toughie.
I say, who do we get the money from on this? So yeah.
So
crazy, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, if that continues to happen, then there'll be fewer and fewer people reporting things to the police if they figure they're going to have to pay for the police.
Yeah.
To do what the police should be
something has really
doing.
Happened. Yeah.
What you were fooled by someone else.
Yeah.
And now they're going to come after you for that money. And, well, I don't know. I think that's a slippery slope. So let me ask the senator here. Are you aware that the Boston Globe newspaper has published an editorial saying that, okay, fine, the mandates are ending. You're going to have to change your work-at-home rules for state workers. Make them show up. Because now we have low staffing in the state offices, and you're going to have to get them to come back in. And that's going to be a problem because now a lot of child care decisions have been made based on the availability of working at home, yet citizens have a right to walk in and see an operative behind the counter.
Well, if it's a public-facing job where you need somebody behind the counter, absolutely you have to be there. But if it is a situation where, look, this job can be done at home, sure, why not?
Well, that's very interesting. According to this newspaper editorial, you got some work to do on that.
Well, I guess it would be all about efficiency. And you know how efficient state agencies are. But
well, they try.
Melissa, you'd probably be interested
I'm
in
just
this,
saying.
as we're going to wrap up the show pretty quick. We had the story last week, and now here are the results. Voters in Nantucket have rejected a proposal that sought to limit the number of short-term rentals on the island.
Okay.
They went with the money. You
Yep.
want the money coming in.
What was the percentage?
The measure
Does it say?
rejected at a town meeting on Saturday would have restricted the short-term rentals to homes occupied by the owner for at least 6 months of the year. Supporters worry the island will be taken over by absentee homeowners renting their properties out year-round on Airbnb and other sites. I don't have the numbers.
Oh, okay,
Opponents
so
were
it was-
concerned about hurting homeowners who rely on the income.
So it was rejected by the town council to be put
No,
to.
rejected by the voters. They had a town
Public
meeting.
vote.
Oh,
Public vote.
okay, public vote. Okay.
That's
all right, then.
That's how some towns do it in Mass.
Well, that's
the
a
town meeting
significant
together.
question.
Right.
That's a
for
significant
them.
question because if the whole, well, the majority of properties are all owned by absentee landlords who just look at them as investments, what
That's-
kind of community will you have?
Right. Exactly.
That's what the
It's
opponents
double-edged
say.
sword, right?
But they're going to allow it, at least for this upcoming season.
Yep.
All right, we've got to run. We've come to the end of the program. Thanks for listening in, as
I
always.
choose to saunter, Joe.
Saunter out of here. Melissa, will you skip?
I won't skip.
No skipping. Okay. Dave, thanks for coming in, by the way.
Nice to be here, Joe.
All
Good
right.
to be with you all.
Melissa, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Happy Monday, everybody.
Stay tuned for Leslie Page at the libraries coming up, and then it's Food First with Karen Zangari, and the Tiki Bar is tonight at 6 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. A 25-year-old